But don't you think now in the era of OnlyFans and being direct to your consumer, don't you think more you're getting people in porn that are more savvy, that are more entrepreneurial than back in the day?
I think those are the ones you see, right?
Yeah.
So those are the ones that are getting the most attention. What was that one girl's name that we were texting about?
Oh, thousand dick.
Yeah, which I did the math on this because my brain is just, I don't know if you saw the clip.
I saw the clip, yeah.
And I don't know what I was thinking when I was recording. I was like, I have to check because this math isn't mathing.
It doesn't seem,
40 seconds. And then her story was like, I did one-on-one so they could spend more time. I'm like, you are so full of shit. You did not do, there's no way. It's not possible.
Her name is Bonnie Blue.
Bonnie Blue.
And she looks exactly like Lily Phillips, who's also coming up in the game, who both British chicks, and
I thought they were the same person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so now I guess Lily Phillips is trying to do that same concept, and Bonnie Blue's like, she's taking my brand. She's taking me brand. But yeah, no, that's to me is like, that's just going the next. You're to me, that's, what is that?
The one-upping?
Is that psychopathy? No, fucking 1,000 dudes. Yeah, what's going on there from top to bottom, emotionally, sociologically?
I only have the outside looking in. I have a 4-year degree in psychology, so that's like nil. And then just exposure anecdotally from being in the industry. What I saw with the girls that were like the most extreme is a high level of dissociation, right? So like out of body, compartmentalizing, lots of trauma.
Gotta be.
Narcissism, absolutely. Yep. And I think it's probably all of those things, like maybe like some kind of personality disorder to some extent.
Yeah.
But again, this is just like armchair quarterbacking essentially. I have never met a woman in the industry that did the extreme acts that was okay. And I just haven't. And I would always get criticized and be like, I say that I'm a hypocrite or that I'm like slut shaming or how dare I. And I think because of my position and being so close to it and in the same industry, I have a valid opinion. Like it should be taken with some kind of weight, right? Because I have experience. And not all of the stuff is safe. And I just did a trigonometry episode. I'm getting dragged right now, which I knew was going to happen. I do these things and I don't know why, because there must be like some level of masochism that I have. But there can be sexuality with authenticity, even if it's excessive or what some people would say is excessive. And for everyone, you have to identify your reason why you're doing it.
Right.
And not everyone's why is the same. So, I mean, if you have these girls that are doing really unsafe acts, I have the right to call that out because you are jeopardizing the health of other people when you re-enter an industry and you're shooting with other people. Right? Like if you're sleeping with civilians and they're not tested. I know, I hate that it's called civilians. It is. I didn't make it up, so don't come at me for that term, but you're sleeping with all of these people that are untested. You come back into the industry and then you get other people sick. That's not okay.
Oh, so a lot of those dudes were not in the industry.
No, for the 1,000. No, she's like getting like freshly 18-year-old boys. And I always say if you wouldn't be okay with a man doing something, you shouldn't be okay with a woman doing it. So like we would say a man is a predator, right? And he's like all of these things if he's going after a freshly 18-year-old girl. Like this man would be dragged for it. But if a woman's doing it, it's okay because lucky him. And it's like, no, men can experience sexual trauma too. And it's actually, I think it's a little bit worse because if the guy's super young and he's with a much older woman, it's like giving him a false idea of what that relationship dynamic is going to be for. And then now that power structure is inverted and that's going to probably continue on into manhood for him. You know what I mean?
So as a casual porn fan, I'm just going to speak for men. When we look at a woman like Bonnie Blue taking 1,000 dicks, well, do your thing. Yeah. But don't tell me you're okay. Yeah. Like don't go on a podcast and say, "Oh yeah, my parents are just fine with it." If you notice that, every stripper you talk to, every porn star, ex-porn star, whatever you talk to is like, "Oh yeah, my parents love what I do. They love that I." No, shut up. Shut up. Yeah. Just tell me you're a wreck on the inside and we'll keep it pushing. Like, I don't know why that is. Like men get very angry at porn stars or women in the sex industry because for a myriad reasons, but sexual frustration I don't think is the top of it. Like I think it's like they look at it as easy money. They're like, why is this person like getting away with this? That's what I maybe that's how I feel. But I think that's probably a lot of men feel that way too.
Well, that would track, and my pushback to that would be, if you look at the numbers, which they don't lie, there's 5 million creators on OnlyFans. People get like, they're like creating, you are creating content, like it or not, they're making, it's still creating. So there's about 5 million of them. Something like 90% of them are barely breaking $1,000 a month. So like, they think it's easy money. And I got told recently by like a really prominent podcaster, social person, it was all off camera, and he's like, well, you kind of took the shortcut, right? And I was it kind of took my breath away for a second, because like, you don't realize what I've done with my brand and what I've done financially is like 0.1%.
Yeah.
0.1%. It was not the shortcut. I'm still paying for it now. You know, that decision that was almost a decade ago. So it certainly wasn't a shortcut. Most women, when they get in, and probably the same for men, they leave worse off financially than before they got in.
Is that just because, mismanagement, you know, not getting money fast and not having, not knowing
financial literacy.
Financial literacy, there we go.
Yeah.
And then maybe drug addiction.
Right. And then there wasn't a ton of drugs, at least not that I saw. I've never really done anything. I got into psychedelics after I got out, but I've never done anything really recreationally. So even the psychedelics were always facilitated by like a shaman or a facilitator of some sort. I didn't see a ton of it, but what I did see is girls would get a paycheck. They didn't understand how taxes worked, so they thought, this is all of mine. Go buy a Louis bag, which is like, because they all want to compete, and then they end up at the end of tax season and they're like, oh, you owe this, and like, what do you mean, what's that? And now all of their wages are getting garnished, so now they're shooting scenes, they're having sex and not even getting paid because the whole check is getting taken, and then on and on it goes.
No, it sounds exactly like a rapper or a drug dealer or something like that. God, it's really okay, good. So now I can feel better. Bonnie Blue is gonna be a wretch.
Well, she's probably making a ton of money, is my guess.
Fair.